Hello, everyone. This is John Ferretti, one of the co-founders of the Local 100 Fightback Coalition. I'm a former executive board member of TW Local 100, and I'm currently running for executive board on the Progressive Action slate, along with three other members of our coalition. And I wasn't planning on going live tonight, but I just wanted to talk about the moral character and depravity of our current union leadership. And I know it's not something we want to talk about. It's something that repulses a lot of our members and makes them not want to be involved in union politics at all. Want to throw up their hands and say that people who run for office are all about themselves, and no matter who we elect, it's going to be the same shit and the same corruption. And I don't like that, and I don't want to add any fuel to that fire, because it's really self-defeating, and it actually demobilizes us, and it shows our enemies that we don't believe in our own power. So I don't like to give any fuel to that fire generally. However, there are sometimes when those who pretend to lead us, those who try to speak in our name, do things that are so morally depraved that we can't help but actually speak out about the way they disgrace our union and their tactics, and what it means for us as a union, what it means for the balance of forces between us and the bosses, and also what it means in this election. Why are they attacking Progressive Action? Why are they attacking people who are running as rank and file leaders who've played a leadership role that our union leaders should have been playing on many, many occasions? Rank and file is united together to lead the first contract rally in one contract campaign, when our union leaders were hiding out at the union hall and led no struggle at all. Transit workers, rank and file leaders who united to build assault rallies to bring attention to the disgusting epidemic and crisis we face of disrespect, assault, and abuse on the job. While these people were hiding under the boss's boots, licking their boots, while they were doing nothing to protect our members, while they were doing nothing to advocate for our members, it was rank and file leaders who stepped forward and took up the leadership role that they should be. There should be their responsibility first, last, and always. They are paid by your dues money. They are the elected representatives of your union, and they are completely absent and AWOL at their job. And yet they spend their time, when they decry social media, but they're on social media all the time, personally attacking and seeking to snitch on rank and file leaders that are actually doing the work they should be doing. They target Progressive Action because they know that management fears us. They fear the Progressive Action slate because it's a collection of rank and file leaders with a proven record of fighting the bosses and imposing our will upon them, inflicting defeats upon them, organizing members to see their own power, feel their own self-confidence, and begin to show transit workers the tremendous power that they have, and why they can never be silent, and why we must be at the forefront, rank and file transit workers, in all of these struggles. So what am I upset about in the recent events that caused me to do the live stream? So I'm going to share my screen and show you what your union leadership has been busy doing in the process of a time when they're supposed to be campaigning to be reelected as the leaders of Local 100. Are they attacking management? Are they making any demands on management? Are they leading any struggles towards management? No, that's not what they're doing. Let's see what they're doing. So let me share my screen. And let's, okay. This is what they're doing. Hope everybody can see this. It's a old Western style wanted poster put out by the Gomez Davis regime and their management first, boss loving snitch slate. Progressive comp. You work so they don't have to. They must be talking about themselves. If you see any of these individuals that don't work out collecting signatures or campaigning Monday to Friday during the AM tour, please take a picture of them and send it to progressivecomp100@gmail.com. $100 per photo. So they're putting out bounties for members to snitch on their coworkers. And clearly, if you take the implications of this, it's one step further to turn people over to management, isn't it? And they target particular members of our slate who are injured on the job, assaulted, or otherwise unable to work because of the disgusting, unsafe conditions that this slate creates on an everyday basis. And if you think that I'm kidding, that this is the Davis Gomez regime, if you think that I'm making this up, that this isn't them, that it's just somebody else, well, let's see what the vice president of RTO department, who likes to assault his fellow coworkers, Canela Gomez, has been up to. So let me try to find that one. Screenshot. No. Oh, okay. Here's the former disgrace of a vice president, Eric Logel. This is what he's been up to on his Union Goon Squad Facebook troll account. This is what he's doing, showing who he fears again, showing the people he wishes he could fight like. He wishes he had the ability to lead struggles like the people on this flyer. Let me try to find the comments of your current vice president. Oh, here we go. Canela Gomez. When he's asked why they should be reelected, the first comment that he makes: first and foremost, everyone in this slate actually comes to work every day. This is a union leadership. This is somebody who represents a struggle against bosses who get us hurt and injured on the job every day, who create all sorts of unsafe conditions. You want a union leadership representing us that acts and thinks like management? That's what you want? That's members first? So in any case, what Canela and the goons at the Union Hall won't tell you is that, well, they say I'm out on comp. What they don't say is that I was assaulted at work, that I was spit on and punched in my forehead, and I hit my back of my head on the cab door panel on my R train at J Street Metrotech station in Brooklyn. And just so they want to put my business out on Front Street, you notice I didn't come to you with any of these details because I don't want to make it about me. It wasn't about sympathy. It wasn't about me trying to stay out of work. I was assaulted. I have a post-traumatic stress disorder from a brutal attack from an irate customer that these scumbags collaborated with because they're constantly carrying water for a management team that targets us as shiftless and lazy and deserving of disrespect, who put a target on our backs. And this union has done absolutely nothing to keep transit workers safe from these kinds of assaults. So I'm going to show you my proof of exactly what happened to me on the job. And many members will see the similarities to their own experiences, and many of them, I'm sure, have much worse experiences. Let me just find these screenshots to show. Okay, this is my workers' compensation form most recently. No work, post-traumatic stress disorder. Mr. Ferretti is continuing exposure therapy, continuing services. I was assaulted on July 27th, 2023, last year. Okay, exposure therapy is supposed to give me exposure to the subway system so that I could potentially go back to work once I was able to handle the stress and the trauma of going back to a condition where I was recently assaulted by a customer. So me being in the subway system, whether petitioning, talking to coworkers, has nothing to do with my ability to be on a train 8, 10, 12 hours a day, locked in a box and heir to being assaulted again. Those are completely different circumstances. Here's another Okay, this is the police report. 7/27/2023. But this, I want you guys to remember, this is your union leadership. This is what they want out in public for everyone to see. As I was closing train doors and sat with the front section, a customer lunged at my cab window and spit all over my face and punched me. I then hit my head on the conductor cab wall. Assault, spitting, trauma, head and whole body. So, quick question. Does anybody think that the kind of union leadership that we need is a union leadership that shames someone who was assaulted because of conditions they allowed to continue in the subway system because they are cowardly traitors who have never fought the boss, who have never shut down unsafe work in a massive way to send a message to the MTA bosses that this is unacceptable, except for photo op, propaganda bullshit. They've never spent time in the field, not one day, every day, organizing members to shut down unsafe working conditions, using our contractual protections to refuse to do unsafe work. They're allergic to that kind of organizing. They wouldn't know the first thing about it. When they tried to do safety shutdowns in Coney Island Yard, they are so stupid and incompetent, they almost got themselves written up on Taylor law charges because they're epic, incompetent morons who have never led struggle, ever. They've never had the ability to gain the confidence of workers and teach them how to fight the boss, teach them what their rights are, educate them every day, not one day when you get rookies in trouble because you don't know how to lead any kind of safety enforcement and you don't know how to really educate them so that they know what they're doing. Morons. But these people are going to shame their coworkers publicly and put bounties on their heads, seeking for other workers to learn that what it means to be a union is to snitch on your coworkers. They are a disgrace to the name of unionism. They're a walking kick-me sign in leadership. We wonder why we don't get any respect on the job. This is why. The weakness is them. They think and act like the boss. And, in case you think I'm making this up, why don't you look at what they actually are doing in the field all the time? Licking the boots of the bosses, taking photos. I'm trying to find the picture. It's going to take a minute. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Professional employee facilities, mugging it up with big, oversized scissors. And look who's next to them. Critchlow and Lambert and a bunch of other supervisors. There's more supervisors in here than there are transit workers, mugging it up and having a great time. How long did Chambers Street flagging quarters take to be rehabilitated? How many kickbacks have gone to how many contractors over the work that's being done there? Was it all done by union workers? I don't see them talking about that. But in the middle of an election campaign, this is what they're doing. Glad-handing and kissing the ass of the bosses and making them look like they're actually doing something for us. But this is who represents us? No. That's why they're scared. You know the expression, hit dogs holler? It's never more true than with your union leadership. Why do you think they're coming after progressive action? Because they have instructions from their overseers, because they're team management, because they're desperately afraid that independent rank and file leaders who actually know what the fuck they're doing, who actually know how to organize workers to fight back, who actually understand the role of a union is supposed to be to inflict our will upon management, not lick their boots and have no shame at all about the way they disgrace us publicly every time they open their mouths. That's why they're attacking progressive action. They're attacking progressive action because the best fighters are uniting together to try to take control of this union and take control of, at the very least, the RTO department. They mock Keapua, who was removed from power for one reason and one reason only, because he wouldn't be a bootlicker, because he wouldn't cave to demands that he sell givebacks and attacks on our members and unsafe working conditions. One of the things that caused the rift between Keapua and the Local 100 leadership was over the R179 equipment, which we all know is grossly unsafe, that train operators can't walk in between cars, that there wasn't enough space. And Kia tried to shut the implementation of those R179 trains into customer service. Another disgusting, corrupt deal that they made with some manager getting a free trip to wherever it was that these train cars were being produced. And no doubt getting all sorts of goodies and perks and benefits for rubber stamping unsafe equipment that we all know for conductors is a nightmare as well. So that was the beginning of the cause of the rift with Kia Pua. Then after that, he was against, he voted against Samuelson at the International Convention. And then he wouldn't push their sellout contract. And they waited their time, and they set up a kangaroo court, and they removed him from office. For 3 years, he was banned from participating in the union. Yet your VP, a piece of human garbage who attacked one of his co-workers and put him in the hospital, is such a coward that he had to bring a 6'8", 350-pound goon with him to jump this rank and file worker who was at work in full uniform performing his job duties. He faces no kind of consequences at all from the union leadership for putting a member in the hospital, for getting arrested as the vice president of RTO on MTA property, for disgracing our union because he has no self-control at all. You bring somebody who's that big with you to diffuse a situation, not to jump somebody. It's a most gross violation of everything it means to be a union officer. You're not going to de-escalate a situation with management, so you're just going to dive right over the table and engage in a fist fight at negotiations. Is that what we're going to do? Is that going to bring pride to our union? Is that going to organize us? Is that going to make us seem like we have answers for the problems that we face? No. Richard Davis, another goon, a sexist pig, somebody who put his girlfriend on the payroll down at the union hall. And then when he was upset, when she questioned him about his relationship with other women, he thinks it's a good look for Local 100, for the entire union, for one of the most important unions in this country, if not the world, to go across the street from the union hall and choke her and punch her in the face. And nothing is done. Nothing is done. But you're worried about members who are assaulted not running back to work and somehow having an advantage in this election? You're worried about people who you denied pay, who were assaulted on duty by your own representatives, being out here campaigning for union office? That's what they're worried about. I don't know what to tell you, Local 100 members, but if you think that this is okay, if you think this is normal, you must think that Trump is normal too. You must think that the new normal is to have leaders who are psychotic sociopaths, and it's perfectly okay. And every one of you who runs with this slate, you can call yourself members first all you want. The reason why you got to rebrand yourself is because everybody knows the scumbags you are. Everybody knows that every word that comes out of your mouth is a word coming from management. Every single word that comes from you is boss logic, is being the best propaganda representatives for our scumbag bosses who get us killed. Every one of you is an opportunist, coward, and traitor, and you can never be trusted by any transit worker that has any self-respect. You're a disgrace, and members need to know who these people are. Don't sign their petitions. I know the people have said they sign petitions because, after all, anybody should be able to run. In principle, yes, anybody should be able to run, and this whole petition process is a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of gatekeeping mechanisms to keep people who are rank and file members, who have it a lot harder to be able to get time off, to be able to be out in the field, are dealing with things that ordinarily wouldn't have them out in the field, needing to collect signatures. It's a gatekeeping mechanism. We agree. But signing a petition for these boss lovers, for these management snitches who do this in reality. This is not just on Facebook. It's just not some virtual reality. You know what the star witness was to try to get Tremel Thompson fired from New York City Transit? Supposedly our greatest enemy, New York City Transit. Who was the star witness? Canela fucking Gomez. And when I tell you that he is a human piece of garbage, I am not kidding with you, because I would feel that way by anybody who crossed the picket line and scabbed on our strike. I would feel the same way for anyone else who wrote a G2 on their coworkers. I have no less contempt for Canela than I have for somebody who crosses a picket line. He is fundamentally anti-union. He's a disgrace. We can never allow him to be reelected. Never. To sign a petition for these scumbags is to say it's okay, is to say that we don't believe in the union at all, that we spit on everything that Local 100 ever meant in this transit authority, organizing members, organizing communities to stand up to abusive bosses. Our union has a proud history. It was built by undocumented immigrant workers who occupied a power plant in Kent Avenue, Brooklyn, and told New York City Transit they were not going to continue to deal with the disgusting, unsafe conditions they were facing. Over 100-degree heat, particles hanging in, dust clouds hanging in their work location, grossly unsafe conditions. And they told their racist scumbag bosses, you have 2 days to concede to our demands. Our demands are a 10% increase in 1 year, and we demand that you recognize our union, TW Local 100. And they won. And they won because they showed strength, because they stood and fought, because they collectively organized their strength to have each other's back. And communities had their back as well, providing physical deterrent to cops, Pinkertons, and other thugs that the MTA, well, not the MTA at the time, but New York City Transit, organized to try to kill those striking workers, to try to physically brutalize them. Sound familiar? Who's facing the physical assault here? Is it them, or is it rank and file transit workers who are being assaulted because of what they represent, because of their activism in the field, because they fear the ability of workers collectively? They don't fear any one of us. They fear the ability of workers to be able to organize themselves and speak to themselves. They want to silence us. It's not about Tremel. It's not about whether you like Tremel, whether you always agree with him. It's not about me. It's not about Seth. It's not about any leader in this union and whether you have 100% support for them. It's about self-respect. It's about, why are they targeting these leaders? Why is your union not only complicit, they're shaking their pom-poms for management. They're actively seeking to get members fired. They have to go. Anything less is suicide. Anything less is complete surrender to whatever disgusting attacks that management has in store for this union. And it paves the path for the destruction of our union. Please, members, we have to be honest with ourselves. Elections have consequences. And who you vote for and who votes matters. And who turns out matters. Just because we have the rights that we have now, just because we have supposedly a union to organize us, just because in theory we have pensions, in theory we have agreements to health insurance, does not mean they are going to exist forever. They will not exist forever without you. There is no union without you. And that's why we feel so weak, because you are so silent, because you are so passive, because you sit on the sidelines watching the show, and you have your opinions about these things, but often you don't speak out about these things. And your silence, it sends the message. It gives consent. It sends the message that you consent to this, that this is okay, that this is normal, that this is just the normal mudslinging that happens in every election. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the worst leadership we have ever had. They are a disgrace to everything it means to be a union. They're not on our side at all. They are against us. And you must take the power they have, paid for with our blood, sweat, and tears and our dues money, away from them. because they are using it as a weapon against you. We must get this. We must understand they have crossed over. They are not who you once knew. You may have had a cool relationship with them. I know some people on the other side that I have respect for, but I don't have respect for them anymore. I don't have respect for them no more. If they continue to nod their head and go along with this, if they continue to attach their name, they attach their reputation to these fucking scumbags and management snitches and boss agents, no, I don't have any respect for you anymore. Sorry. Respect is earned, and you have to have self-respect, and your vote represents your self-respect. Send a message to management. Send a message to their bosses, agents in our union leadership. Send people who you know how to fight, who you know they fear. Send a message of fuck you to management. Fuck you to your union leadership. Send a message of militancy. Vote for the Progressive Action slate. Vote for every candidate on the Progressive Action slate, because that will send the clearest message that the new normal is not working for us, that we are not okay with continuing to be treated with disrespect, and that we will demand respect. And we will put leaders in positions of power at every level of this union who know what time it is and know how to fight and know what side of the barricades to be on, who don't snitch on their coworkers, who don't bring shame to our union, who give us pride in our ability to organize, in our ability to collectively fight and create the kind of world we seek. You can't wish for a better world. We got to create it. We have to create it through our own struggles, through our own mobilization. The time for sitting on the sidelines is over. They are telling you, they are screaming it from the rooftops, who they fear, who management fears. Understand the assignment, Local 100. Understand the assignment. Pay attention. Only hit dogs holler. They wouldn't be screaming and hollering and scandalously engaging in smear campaigns against rank and file coworkers if they weren't terrified of losing power, if they weren't terrified of what would happen if the voice of rank and file members was actually heard in this union and in a position to actually organize our power and strength and bring our scumbag bosses to their knees. The time is coming soon for a decision. Please support the Progressive Action slate. And when these liars and traitors come out there with their petitions screaming members first, these party promoters, these shuckers and jivers, these ass kissers, these snitches, tell them where they could shove their petition and their entire slate. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll be talking to you really soon. Tomorrow at 9 p.m., we're going to be talking to the presidential candidate of the Progressive Action slate, Kia Pua. Unfortunately, we had to postpone because of a medical family situation that he had on Sunday, but we're going to be going live Tuesday at 9 p.m. Please bring all of your questions and please prepare for this discussion. It's important to hold the leaders accountable, whether you support them or you don't support them. We want people who are qualified for these positions. We want people who can amplify our voices, and we want leaders that the rank and file knows they've already made demands on. And then we can unite and fight together and to hold each other accountable, to fight for those needs. Because we're not getting anywhere with the strategy we've been trying. And trying the same strategy over and over again that we know only weakens us, only puts a kick me sign on our back, only targets us for attack. Like Einstein said, trying the same strategy over and over and over again. It's insanity. We have to break from the strategy. We have to stop throwing up our hands and saying there's nothing we can do. You all know that's a lie. You all know when you go down the road with your train operator, your conductor, whether it's another bus operator, whatever title you're in, the only person you have to count on is your coworkers. Collectively, we make an entire city run, one of the greatest cities in the history of the world, one of the most productive cities in the history of the world. We make it run. And without our hands, it stops completely and entirely. Don't tell us we don't have the power to make things happen. We make miracles happen every goddamn day. And we need to have voices and positions of power that can effectively communicate the consequences they will face if we do not get what we need, if we do not get the respect we demand. We're not asking anymore. We're demanding respect. And if we don't get it, they're going to feel the wrath of our union. That's the kind of leadership that we need. The time for playing games, the time for being passive and on the sidelines, the time for being silent when you know it's wrong has to be over. Please speak up, speak out. A great opportunity to do that is on Wednesday when we'll be talking to the presidential candidate of the Progressive Action slate, Kia Pua. And Kia, for whatever differences we've ever had, I respect Kia Pua. And I respect Kia Pua because Kia Pua doesn't make it about himself. And I brought Kia Pua into situations where we had disagreements over job conditions, and he took the heat from members. He took the heat from members and he listened to them. And in many cases, changed his opinion and took action to actually address their concerns. That is almost unheard of from any leader that I've seen in Local 100. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We have to begin to start judging the moral character of the people we are putting in a position to represent us. Don't put anyone in a position to represent you who you don't morally respect, who you think is morally reprehensible, who you think is an egomaniac, who you think is thin-skinned, petty, can be provoked into outbreaks of ridiculous, reckless behavior. We don't need those kind of leaders anymore. And every day that we have them, we are weaker. Please, you have the power to change it. You have to make the change. Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry that it gets a little energized or agitated, but I tend to take it personally when someone disgraces an institution that I actually have a lot of pride in, that I actually believe in, that I actually want to have the world have respect for. And you should too, and you should demand it. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Have a great night.